I'm a loner. I'm not going to lie about it. I fight against it for so many years, but finally I can truly say that I am at peace with it. Throughout my life and my socializing experiences, I came to different conclusions that helped me tremendously when it comes to create meaningful connections with others. And on this video, I will share all I've learned along the way. So please believe me on this one. If you feel lonely, you got to the right place. Let's talk about loneliness. What is it? Why do we feel like this? How can we navigate this emotion? And many, many more useful things. That's the biggest gift you can give to yourself. And it's called, this is prestigious, this sucks. That's how you lose yourself. And your unique personality just vanishes. Sometimes all you have to do is to identify the best cure for loneliness is to go and get to 99.9% of the cases. Lonely people, shy people, insecure people come from, and at that point, you don't need to go and be doing massive efforts to achieve things. Feeling lonely means you don't belong to where you are at the moment. What you need to flow effortlessly socially, it's to I will start with the definition of loneliness, and this is my humble way to describe how loneliness feels in various different deep expressions. I used to think that the worst thing in life was to end up all alone, but it turns out I was wrong. The worst thing in life is to end up surrounded with people who make you feel all alone. Loneliness doesn't come from not having any people around you, but it comes from being unable to talk freely about those things that are very important to you. The worst loneliness you could ever experience is the one you feel when you're not comfortable with your own presence. We introverts, we love it when we are alone, but we hate it when we are lonely. Honestly, I've been alone all my life. Always constantly trying to help, to be there for others, and just never getting that back, no matter how hard I try. My goal in life is to find someone who considers me their first choice. I just don't want to spend the best years of my life alone. Worst part of isolation, it becomes a bad habit. And we know this, right? Just as every good or bad habit, it becomes part of our lifestyle. We get used to it. It gets too comfortable. No drama, no secrets, no conflicts. No need to take a responsibility on keeping relationships alive. I find myself feeling so indifferent to socializing. It's like I gave up and accepted loneliness. A lot of us may share the same frustrations. Some of us might be that one friend who is never anyone's closest friend. And we occasionally get invited to hang out with a friend that at that moment doesn't have any other option. And then he invites us, but then that friend never returns the favor back. We all might feel like that extra person that was forgotten about. I mean, you know that feeling when you just feel you have been forgotten in your own friends group? I get depressed when I see others there having the best time ever with their friends, and here I am alone doing nothing. Every day I wake up and I have no messages on my phone. It's horrendous. To me, loneliness, it's when finally, for once, I feel I want to be around people, and then I realize there's nobody to be around. Loneliness, it's not being alone. It's that feeling that nobody cares. I feel like I'm in this sort of paradox where I want to be social and be around friends, but then my social battery very quickly runs out, gets empty, and then I just want to be alone. But then if I'm a bit more alone than what I need, then I feel lonely again. I know it's weird. And also, I just find it very difficult I barely ever can find someone with whom I can share deep, meaningful conversations. But maybe it's all my fault because I'm just looking in the wrong places. It's just better to be alone than in the wrong company. Loneliness, it's sometimes all those things, but sometimes it's none of them. Please let me know if you resonated with any of those definitions of loneliness. Welcome to my channel. My name is Tucci and let's start. First of all, I would like to say that if you feel lonely, definitely you are not alone, since probably to the surprises of absolutely no one, loneliness has become an epidemic in this modern world where we live in. Loneliness makes us see life through a door lock that may not always reflect reality. Loneliness will make you feel trapped inside your own thoughts and feelings. Too much loneliness, and then you get self-absorbed into your own reality. You lose real and objective perspective of what really is going on in the world. Too much loneliness, and then you'll start living in a parallel reality full of unrealistic illusions. Illusions where you romanticize what love, sex, and financial success really are. You will create a perfect world that will just spoil you, because that perfect world is unattainable and your standards become unachievable. Too much of that, and then you will be so spoiled to the point where you will much rather prefer to live in your fantasy world all alone than in an imperfect world with non-fictions and imperfect relationships. That to me is the most dangerous part of loneliness. Giving up to the reality and then abandon this now and here to just go and live in your comfort zone little space. It's like comparing real sex with a partner with porn. You are just comparing an imperfect reality versus an ultra edited, acted, perfect scene. How often do you feel lonely? Because we are all supposed to feel lonely every now and then. But what do we do if that feeling persists? Loneliness is not reliant on being alone. Loneliness, like all other emotions, it's just a state of mind. Loneliness doesn't reflect how many people are around you, how many family members you have, or how many friends you have. It's not about the number of people who likes your pictures or the number of your followers or how much people say happy birthday to you through social media or text messages. It really is all about the quality of those relationships, what matters the most. It's all about how connected you feel with those people. This may sound cheesy and pointless, but first of all, as a priority, become your own best friend. And you might say, okay, but how do I get that? How do I befriend me in such a deep level? Well, start spending good quality time with yourself. For example, read a book that makes you feel better, that teaches you a great life lesson. People say oftenly, I hate to be alone. But what do you do when you're alone? Because you need to do something meaningful to enjoy your time on your own. If you just sit or lay in a couch like a potato for 3 hours, just scrolling and scrolling social media, watching a bunch of strangers who are trying to call your attention, then that's why you feel horrendous when you're alone. I can be, for example, 3 whole hours reading a book that makes me feel free, wild, makes me feel more connected with my source. By the way, that book that I'm reading right now, it's called Women Who Run with the Wolves, and it really is a piece of art. I'm truly enjoying it. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is I can spend 3 hours reading that book and I don't feel I am wasting my life or I am wasting my time, because I'm loving it. I'm loving those hours on my own presence. Be kind to yourself. Purposeful time dedicated to yourself will heal and develop that connection that will get you closer to your source and that will make you feel empowered. If you know you get your back, would you ever feel lonely again? Well, no, you won't. Chances are your I am feeling lonely issues started in your childhood. For example, my own loneliness issues started when I was young at home and I was trying to tell to my parents things that were very important to me, but they were not really listening. Like, for example, I cried so many times begging them please to change me to another school, and they never did it. I hated that school to the bone. Just to start, it was all in German with German teachers, and guess what? I didn't speak any German, so it was super tedious and boring. And it was from like 8 in the morning to 4 p.m. every day. It was like I hated every single of those hours. It was a very expensive school, literally the best one out there. And that's what my parents had planned for me, to receive a very high standard education. But I get it. You have to trust that the decisions your parents make for you once you are a kid or once you are like 18 years or less, you have to trust they are taking the best decisions for your future and for the well-being of the whole family. But once you become an adult and you're 18 or plus and you have the freedom to go start working and gain your financial freedom, then you can start taking your own decisions in life. Life goes just so fast to leave your parents or the people who surround you to influence and push your decisions in a way where you don't feel aligned with those decisions. When you are an adult, you need to be in sync with what you choose. That needs to represent who you really are. Otherwise, you're just wasting your life. The people around you, your parents, they have their own lives. And every single day, they can take a lot of decisions about what to do with themselves, for them and for their future. And you need to take control of your own life and take your own decisions, just as they do. This is your chance. This is your life. This is your choice. Have you been there telling your parents what to do with their own lives? Well, maybe even if you did it, they decided if they wanted to listen to you or not. And they eventually took their own decisions, the decisions they wanted. And that's the same you should start doing. Let's say, imagine your father had to do what his own father told him to do. Well, that's his fault. And if you do what your parents want and other wants, then that will be your fault too. I mean, of course, if that's not what you really want. Because in 20 years from now, when you feel you haven't done the things you wanted, you didn't went behind your dreams, who are you gonna go and complain? Are you gonna go to your father to tell him you ruined my life? That is just pathetic. But even if you decide to do so, that doesn't change absolutely anything. All those years you didn't do what you wanted are gone. And that's a problem you can't fix. That's wasted. I know it's never too late and everything, but at that point, you waste those years. You can change in the present. But what happened. You should do what you truly believe in. That's the biggest gift you can give to yourself. And it's called self-fucking love. Don't allow others to shift your destiny. Don't allow others to trash your life. Sometimes we might feel forced to do what Pedro and Manuel do just because we think that is what we are supposed to do, because we think that is the right thing to do. Let's bring the example of a doctor that tells his kid, okay, I'm a doctor, so you need to study the same career I studied because I have a great life because of that and I get paid a lot. This is a great career, or you need to study this to follow the family business. Or imagine if that father said, go follow this career because this career is the one who is going to open you the doors to get paid a fortune. This is prestigious. This sucks. But listen to me in this one, and it's just so important what I'm going to say now. Just because something is someone else's world, that doesn't mean that has to be and that has to become your world. You don't always need to feel expectations at the expense of your own life. You don't need to be always there doing what is expected from you to do. That's how you lose yourself. You lose your identity, and your unique personality just vanishes. And once you're lost, you won't be able to fit in effortlessly. It's like, imagine a dog that is trying to socialize and get along with the dogs and feels super sad because he feels he's being left out of the group. Of course the dogs won't care about the dog. And you know what? Naturally, what will happen is that those dogs will bully the dog. Why? Because the dog is different. Why? Because the dog doesn't belong to the dog's circle. I do not have life figured out, and I think no one really does. But in my own humble opinion, the best cure for loneliness is to go and get to know yourself. Respect yourself. Follow your path in life. That way, you won't end up being there doing the things you absolutely hate, and you won't end up surrounded by the people who are not the right for you. What you need to flow effortlessly socially, it's to be around with people who are in sync, well synchronized with you. You need to have a certain level of compatibility with someone to be able to just be relaxed and free, saying what you feel without having to be calculating every single of your acts, without being there overthinking. Because if you're overthinking and calculating your moves, you will get exhausted in no time. You will feel, oh my god, socializing depletes my energy. I'm exhausted after that reunion. And that's when a lot of people who do not fit in say, okay, this is not flowing, I better get drunk on drugs or whatever substances, and then it will be easier. But that's just a mask, right? Because it happens to all of us probably, that we met someone in a party and we were like, wow, so much fun. And then you met the same person later on in the week again or something, and you're like, what? Is that the same person of the other day? What on earth happened to that person? The thing is, like, there's nowhere to hide. You cannot be faking things for so long. Explore yourself, become an expert in knowing which are the right things for you. And when you're so connected with yourself, you will flow in life. And guess what? What is meant to be will always find its way. And at that point, you don't need to go and be doing massive efforts to achieve things. You will just flow. It sounds like such a simple thing to say, but it's just so true. Understanding yourself better will help you massively to then go and understanding others too. And that's when you really form deep human connections. Which is the opposite of loneliness? It's having meaningful connections. How to meet nice people? Where do I go? How can I start? Feeling lonely means you don't belong to where you are at the moment. But please listen carefully to this. That doesn't mean that you don't belong anywhere. You probably are just not doing things that evolve around your potential, your natural abilities, and your purpose in life. Sometimes all you have to do is to identify your unfair advantages. Unfair advantages are those qualities that you possess that set you apart from the others. They can be personality traits, interests, hobbies, skills. Maybe your background is unique. Your job is to spot those things that make you unique, that set you apart, and then shine. Use them to your favor. If possible, I always recommend try to study to have a career that, of course, revolves around those unique advantages. But of course, for being able to find out all this information, you need to do an exhaustive work of introspection. You need to really grind to find these things in yourself. But that being said, getting to know which are your unfair advantages and doing things that are revolved around those, that doesn't mean that you have to go through life doing just the things you like and enjoy. That's just a more self-indulgent and lazy approach to life. Dedicating your career, your job to something that is in sync with you, that is aligned with your likes and whatever is important to you, doesn't mean that your life will be all roses and every day a job will be a dream. That's just an illusion. If you're working at the moment in something that is not truly connected with you and you are not that passionate about it, but if that job in the grand scheme of things is what brings money and food to the table for you and your family, and if in the grand scheme of things that brings joy and a good quality of life for you and your family, then great. I mean, you got to do what you got to do in life sometimes, but then outside that job, look for hobbies and things you are passionate about. And when I'm talking about hobbies, I'm not talking about gaming or anything related to staying at home in front of a screen. I'm talking about something social. Those hobbies will help you massively to fuel your heart, to warm your heart, and that is what will fuel you, so then you can go through hardships at work or in life without feeling depressed, without running on an empty emotional tank. If you don't find these hobbies and you don't work at something you like, then unfortunately you literally end up in an end road where you will develop health problems, mental problems, and nothing there will thrive. And apart from that, you will burn out. Being lonely and having low levels of confidence go hand by hand. Part of being lonely, and I'm sure this is not going to be new for absolutely anyone here, but part of it comes from the fact that you are not going through big challenges as often as you should. You are probably terrified, and that's why you choose to stay more on the comfort side of life. In 99.9% of the cases, lonely people, shy people, insecure people come from immature parents. Parents who unfortunately were not emotionally ready to raise their kids and provide, to raise their kids, but they were not mature enough to provide their kids with the right skill set to form a solid confidence. But listen here, I'm not judging parents. I'm just talking about objective facts. Confident people go through life facing challenges kind of effortlessly. So, for example, imagine there is a company and there's two employees there. One is confident and one is insecure. And the manager gives them a chore, exact same chore. So they have to read a book about neuroscience, and after reading this book they have a week and they have to make an essay of 5 pages, and then they have to speak about this essay in front of the other employees of the company. So when the confident employee is approached and the manager tells him what he needs to do, his response is, whoa, that's a thing, that's a big thing. I'm not neuroscience is not where my knowledge is at the moment, but I take it. I will research about it. I will read this book and I will give this speech in front of everybody. I get this. I go through this. I'm excited. On the other hand, the manager goes and talks to the insecure employee, and the insecure employee is like, oh no, neuroscience? I have no clue about neuroscience. I don't know about that. It's going to be embarrassing. I'm going to fail. Everybody's going to laugh about me. I hate to speak in public. I cannot do it. I'm not going to finish a book in 1 week. This is too much. It's going to be a disaster. I can't do this. Please don't give me this task. I will fail awfully. Please, people are going to be bullying me forever if you make me do this. So you see, these two people, absolute different approaches in life. I am not a love guru, but let me tell you that the most attractive trait in a person, it's not the boobs or the booty or the size of the muscles or anything related to external lookings. the most magnetic trait someone can have is confidence. Period. That is just like that. People think that beauty makes success easier, but that's just not true. What makes success achievable is confidence. I met so many gorgeous girls that were absolutely insecure about themselves. Plus, people who depend so much on their looks, they hate the idea of aging. And every single day that passes, we all age. No matter what people does, we all age every single day. So if you are so reliant on your looks, then every day for you it's a bit miserable because you know you are losing a bit of that spark. Those people that are so good looking and they care about being good looking, they are trapped because they know that wherever they go, they get all these amazing compliments, but they also know that they need that validation. That validation is like air for their lungs, and they know that every day they are more closer to lose all this validation they are receiving constantly. Okay, so let's compare beauty and success. For example, if you care a lot about money, let's go and check who are the 20 more rich, the 20 richest people in the whole world. I will put them over here. And as you can see, there are not supermodels in this list. Because what these guys or women have, it's a combination of self-confidence, going through big risks constantly, and intelligence. And this just goes to show that beauty and success are not as connected as you might think they are. Beauty opens doors. I'm not stupid, but it doesn't open all the doors. So my mom is into Ho'oponopono. And for those who are like, what the hell she's talking about? Well, Ho'oponopono is a traditional Hawaiian practice of reconciliation and forgiveness. That just sounds like music to my ears. So last time she came back home, she brought this book, and for my daughter actually. And let me share some of the phrases in that book because they are gold. I find this book so calming and relaxing, and I love it just from the title where it says this book is for kids from 3 years to 100. How cute is that? Listen to this. Who am I? This is the best question you could ever ask. You have a unique talent. There is something you can do better than anybody else. We are here to let go of what is not and to discover who we really are. You create with your thoughts. If you've been feeling lonely for too long, just remember, you need to push yourself out of that uncomfortable comfort zone trap as soon as you realize you are in it. Love yourself and spread the love. So, let me tell you, this video got so long that I have to divide it in 2 parts. So over here, the continuation. If you enjoy this topic, these are my recommendations. So first, if you feel you have to work on your self-confidence, this video over here, it's muy bueno, 10 out of 10. And then if you realize that you have low levels of self-confidence because you went through a difficult childhood, then this playlist over here is going to help you so much. It's really, truly enlightening.